We are on the ninth day of Hurricane Matthew in North Carolina. And it's almost like a surreal environment because since Monday, I believe, we've had beautiful Carolina blue skies, even as early as Sunday afternoon. And yet, while we're having these extremely beautiful days in North Carolina, people are suffering as we speak. And people are getting ready for major flooding or involved in major flooding in beautiful towns and cities and counties throughout North Carolina. And I cannot stress this to you more because while people even here in Raleigh or in Charlotte or the Triad or Asheville are back to their normal life, I cannot emphasize to you more there are a lot of people that are hurting and living in shelters and preparing for major floodings as we speak. And it's just very hard to convince people of because it is such a beautiful day in North Carolina. It is a surreal experience. And it's an experience I wouldn't like to repeat, but it's an experience that we've been dealt with, and North Carolina is going to be resilient and deal with it in the right way. And I'm very proud of my team that's dealing with it. I'm proud of the teams in cities and counties, and I'm proud of our federal government. I am sad to report, however, that we have 2 more fatalities. We now stand at 19 storm fatalities. Just during the past 3 days, we're averaging 2 fatalities a day, almost all of them due to drowning. We are putting out the report time and time again to stay away from water. I cannot emphasize that to you more, especially now if you're anywhere around the Tar River, or Neuse River, or Lumbee River, stay away from the water. Whether you're walking or riding in a car, do not get near the water. It will kill you. I'm sad to report that we are notified of a fatality in Wayne County due to driving in flooded waters. And one in Johnson County that was swept away by flood waters while the individual was walking. Actually, that person was a 51-year-old man, was walking on Sunday, and we have just recovered the body. Our hearts and prayers are to the 2 families that are suffering, and I can't imagine what they're going through. I also can't imagine what people are going through right now in Robinson County, where we literally have hundreds upon hundreds of people in shelters not knowing what tomorrow brings because they don't know the condition of their houses or their apartments. And they're right now in schools, some schools that are without power. I just got off the phone with Duke Energy, and I asked them to put a major priority in restoring at least 2 schools in Robinson County that are shelters right now that they do not have power. And I know Duke and the co-ops are still working extremely hard. I think we still have over 200,000 people without power. And I saw a group of men off I-40 yesterday, late last night, on the side of the highway, and you could just see their exhaustion. Can you imagine? They've been restoring power now for 7, 8, 9 days. And they're exhausted. And of course, when they're exhausted, it's dangerous for them too. So I need to be aware of what they're going through, but I put a special emphasis on our shelters and getting them turned back on. And they've been very cooperative, and I appreciate their help. We do have some good news. The federal government approved my request to add Bertie, Johnson, Wayne, and Wilson counties for either public or individual assistance. And we've gotten a lot of feedback on this because we had already requested them get federal assistance, but FEMA initially did not include them because of their initial flyover. There wasn't flooding there. And I can't emphasize that more. And I hope the media helps us there too, because these people, especially in Bertie County, which has been underwater for several days, are going, why isn't that included? It is included. Bertie, Johnson, Wayne, and Wilson counties are now eligible for federal government approval of our emergency funds for public or individual assistance. So please let that be known to all the public officials. And we are asking that more counties be added. So there are several other counties that we are requesting to be added, and they will be added once we show and verify that they have a certain number of financial losses. And I feel confident they'll be added too. Our top priorities in this storm, isn't that amazing? We're saying in this storm, and it's a beautiful day, but just the way it is the stabilization of Robinson County and to continue to prepare for flooding in Edgecombe, Pitt, Lenoir, Pender, Greene, Bladen, and other counties, primarily along the Neuse and Tar Rivers. We are monitoring the rivers, including Lumbee, the Cape Fear, the Neuse, and Tar Rivers, and we're trying to look at our forecast models, which have been quite good at this point in time. The Neuse River is forecasted to reach above record levels. Above record levels. That's higher than Hurricane Floyd in 1999. Neuse River at Smithfield has surpassed record stage by more than 1 foot. And with that, the water is going downhill to the ocean, and that's what's impacting the other areas. Neuse River at Goldsboro is exceeding record stage and is forecast to crest as we speak. The town of Goldsboro ought to be okay. Downtown area, I talked to the mayor there. However, on the other side of the river, where we have major facilities, including Cherry Hospital, including where we have a prison facility, we have great concerns at this point in time. We've already evacuated the prison that we have there, and we've made arrangements at Cherry Hospital where we've moved people to at least evacuate the first floors. But as I flew by it 2 days ago, it was like an island, and it's not going to get any better. Neuse River at Kinston is forecast to crest near record stage on Saturday. We're on Wednesday right now. This hurricane continues in North Carolina. The record crest will not be until Saturday. The Tar River at Tarboro is also forecasting to peak as we speak today. The Tar River at Greenville is forecast to peak early Friday morning. And again, each of these areas have plenty of notice. All the people in those areas that are anticipated to be impacted by this flood have been notified, and so hopefully they are leaving. We have got all our support ready to move in position as soon as they reach these peaks. We've got ambulances, fuel trucks, law enforcement, feeding stations, generators, swiftwater rescue teams, field hospitals, high water clearance vehicles, and National Guard. There have been evacuations ordered in the city of Greenville, the town of Princeville, which continues to get hit. I think that town's basically all evacuated. The Black River Basin in Pender County, and various areas, Lenoir Lenoir County, anticipation of flooding caused by the river cresting. There is also an ongoing evacuation in Moore County for the Wood Lake Dam. I've mentioned this. We made a mistake yesterday in the press conference. I tried to correct it during our debate last night. But the Wood Lake Dam, if you're living below Wood Lake Dam, you need to get out. And I understand there may still be people refusing that. We've had too many deaths. Get out. When they're checking, that hasn't been certified by the engineers. It's excellent work been done there, but you cannot guarantee that that dam will hold. And once that water flows, it's too late. We've had more than 2,000 rescues using 79 boat crews. 50 crews were performed last night. 50 rescues were performed last night, primarily in Robinson County. We continue to use aviation assets from the National Guard, the State Highway Patrol, and the U.S. Coast Guard for the rescue effort. 80 air rescues have been made to date. More than 1,000 National Guard with 360 vehicles have been activated. 2 special medical support shelters continue operations in Johnson and Wayne counties. We still have 34 school systems closure. I also talked to Chief Justice Martin this morning. Mark Martin, people, one thing we haven't mentioned, we have major courts that have been closed since the beginning of this hurricane. So our criminal justice system has been shut down, and we don't have the number of counties yet, but you probably compare that to where our schools are closed. We have 34 systems closures. We probably have 34 court systems closed, or up to around that time period. So our whole court system in those counties are kind of paralyzed and put at pause, which also puts a great strain on our system. We have 43 shelters open with over 3,800 occupants at this point in time. 3,800 people are sitting in shelters. I've been to those shelters. It is tough. It is not comfortable. It is as comfortable as we can make it at this point in time. We're trying to make it more comfortable. But if you had just been flooded out of your home and rescued from a helicopter, and you're sitting in a school cafeteria, in a school gymnasium, without your clothes, and maybe right now we've got people without their medicine, so we're doing some pharmacy. We're working with pharmacies as we speak. These are things that are cropping up. We had people taken out of their homes, including the wonderful senior citizen that I met 2 days ago. She said, all I have is my pills. That's it. Well, think of people who didn't get their pills and they're relying on medicine right now. So we're trying to work on that. And I appreciate everyone's teamwork on that with FEMA and with our local pharmacies and some of this, and Department of Health and Human Services working on that also. 3,800 people. There has been a dramatic decrease in power outages. I apologize, we're down to 143,000. But 143,000 power outages, that means you probably have 300,000 at a minimum impacted, people impacted. 300,000 people in an area like Robeson County, that is a huge percentage. So these people are without power, and many of them also don't have water. The water systems in Johnson and Cumberland counties have been restored, so that's very good news. I want to congratulate the infrastructure people there, the utility people. But however, we still have water system issues in Robinson County, Cumberland County, and Gates County, and this is where we're also trying to get as much water to them as possible. But again, can you imagine being able to shower and cook and do the basic necessities of life, which we're all enjoying now in Raleigh and the other metro areas? They're not enjoying in the lower populated areas of our state. And plus they don't know what their livelihood is going to be next year, especially in the farming community. We are coordinating with FEMA. This is a major challenge of ours right now. We are coordinating with FEMA to identify housing for displaced persons. This is a major challenge for us. We want these people not to have to stay in the shelters, but and we also need to return these shelters to schools. But this is going to be our major priority, is how do we get at least temporary housing for people who have been flooded up? And we're talking, again, thousands of people. And there is no easy solution in this that you can just snap your finger and have a home. So I cannot stress to you more, it is not as, get me a house. It's a lot of coordination, a lot of work, and a lot of money. And it doesn't just happen overnight. Numerous sections of I-95 from Lumberton to Fayetteville remain closed due to flooding. I can't not stress that more. In fact, I got a call last night. We've got people returning to schools in certain areas that were closed, and they can't get there because I-95 shut down. And I got that call last night from a parent. Why didn't you tell me I couldn't get to Wilmington? Our kids are stranded. They can't get around the flooding. A 7-mile stretch of I-40 near Newton Grove is closed. So if the media can get that out as quick as possible. And the people in Virginia and South Carolina and driving through North Carolina need to know that a major part of I-95 is still closed. We have a detour that goes around it, but there is a detour at this point in time. We also need to let the people know in Greenville that if you have north-south travel plans in the future, as of probably tomorrow, there's a good likelihood that the bridge going over the Tar River near the airport could be closed. We do not know that at this point in time, but looking at the models, there's a good likelihood, at least by tomorrow, the bridge going over the Tar River near the airport could be closed. So you're going to have to make other arrangements. And we're especially concerned for the ag community who may need that bridge to get their products to and from destination. But it's unpredictable. It could happen before tomorrow. We're going to try to keep that bridge open as long as possible, but there's no guarantee at what time we may have to close that bridge. Is that correct, Nick? The same thing with Highway 70 east-west in Kinston over the Neuse River. There could be between now and tomorrow, we may have to close that bridge. We just don't know when. Again, we're going to try to keep it as open as long as possible. But we're not going to take any risk of having people go through that bridge with water on it. It's a very, very fast-moving rivers at this point in time. You got to see it to believe it on how fast these rivers are and how wide the rivers are at this point in time. We're also looking at Highway 12 to determine when it's safe to allow re-entry for visitors on Highway 12. We have more information on readync.org on the detour information or the ReadyNC mobile app or by dialing 511. We can get you that information. I just want to let you know we're working extremely hard, especially in Robinson County. We're working very hard with the city, county governments, and also the Indian community who have separate commissions. So we have some real unique issues in Robinson County between the city, the county, and also the Indian community. They have great community centers where they're doing some outstanding work, and we're making sure that if we deliver things to the county, it also gets to the city and also gets to members of the Indian community where they have some of their own shelters. So some unique dynamics that Secretary Sprayberry has been working very closely with the mayor in Lumberton. We've been on the phone constantly with the mayor of Lumberton, the county chairman, and also the emergency directors in those areas. We've also sent management personnel to help with some of the management in some of those emergency operations to just add additional resources because they're overwhelmed at this point in time, and we want to do everything we can to help them. They're doing an outstanding job. We want to praise them. We want to thank them, but no one can prepare for what they're dealing with right now, and they're prepared, but it's an amazing challenge for any manager, and we want to help them as much as possible. 50 state highway troopers are currently helping there, 110 military police for patrol and security shelters, and the Southeastern Hospital. At the Lumberton Airport, we are staging supplies, including food, water, children's supplies, cots, blankets, and medical supplies from the Lumberton Airport. We're trying to distribute it to all the different shelters in Robinson County, and we have many different shelters. How many shelters do we have now in Robinson?
6 that I know of.
6 shelters. Does that include the community centers in the Indian community? Does not include. I think we have 2 or 3 Indian centers there also. And again, pharmaceuticals, we've got a major issue there, and we're working with the pharmaceutical and to get medical support to shelters in Robinson County regarding medicine. Again, the North Carolina Baptist men are doing an outstanding job. I'll tell you, this is the best in North Carolina. They're doing a stand-up kitchen with meals, and that's at lunchtime today in Lumberton. And they have a capacity of 30,000 meals per day. And so if you want to help donate, that's a great group to donate to. North Carolina Baptist Men, in addition to the Salvation Army, in addition to the Red Cross. Speaking of donations, we activated the state's Hurricane Matthew Relief Fund to support long-term recoveries in partnership with the United Way of North Carolina. People or organizations that want to help ensure North Carolina recovers can visit ncdisasterrelief.org or text NC Recovers to 30306. So if you're in Asheville or Boone or Greensboro or Charlotte or Lexington or Raleigh where you're not being impacted now and you have a few extra dollars, please help these people. We'd appreciate it. The private sector is stepping up. We want to encourage more to do this. I want to thank the Walmart Foundation. They've donated $2 million for bottled water, food, and sheltering supplies. AT&T has done some work. I think Coca-Cola Consolidated. We need more corporate help at this point in time, especially in the Robinson area. I also want to thank a lot of out-of-state people. We have swift water rescue teams from Ohio, New York, New Jersey, and the U.S. Coast Guard currently helping us. 20 nurses from Tennessee are on the scene to assist our shelters. We have disaster relief teams from Arkansas and Missouri and North Carolina. This is the best of our country. We have a mobile kitchen from Virginia Baptist Relief. Emergency response management teams from Mississippi and Virginia. And I want to thank Rick Scott, the great governor of Florida. I've had several conversations with him. He was expecting to get hit. We are sending him our mobile stuff, anticipating Florida to have the issues. But Rick Scott is sending 18 semi-trucks full of meals to families in Georgia, South Carolina, and our state. Nikki Haley and I have had ongoing conversations, comparing notes. This is a team effort. So thank you to Rick Scott and the people of Florida who we thought were the ones going to be hit, and we were willing to help them, and they're now helping us. So that's the best of our country. Again, I want to thank the president and everyone else who has offered condolences and also help for us. So with that, I'm hoping these reports don't have to go much longer, but they are going to be. And let's try to save some lives between now and especially Saturday with the rivers peaking. Any questions you might have? That was a pretty full report. Any questions? Thank you to my team. God bless each one of you, and continue to be resilient and safe. Bye-bye.